Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Above the Rim Rundown, where we run down all things NBA. I am one of your hosts, Memo, and right beside me, I've got Hoops. How you doing?
What's going on, man? Overall, I've been doing good, just getting through in life. And yeah, it's pretty much just been regular life routine program. How you been?
Same as you. Just getting through with life. The best to my capabilities, but yeah, just pushing through. It was a rough week, but it is what it is. It is what it is, I guess. The weather's getting hot here in Southern California. I'll say that. That would explain my Hawaiian shirt. It's Hawaiian shirt season now. I did play basketball this week. I guess that's one highlight. I went right after work and it was fun. I was actually draining threes like crazy that day. My threes were going in, but my layups were not, which I guess isn't too crazy. Because I don't know why I can't make a layup as of late, but apparently I can make a three. I'm Steph from three, but Angel Reese from inside 2 feet. I guess that's how it is. But yeah, other than that, nothing too crazy. Just happy to talk about some NBA playoff basketball, which we'll do today. We'll be going over the OKC Minnesota series that ended just recently. By the time of this recording, the Pacers Knicks series is not over, but we'll talk about the games that we've watched as so far, and then towards the end we'll try to give our predictions for either OKC Knicks or OKC Pacers, determining what happens, I guess, this weekend. But yeah, I guess we could just start with the series that already is over with OKC versus Minnesota. We'll start with Game 3, Hoops. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so game three was at this point it was 2-0 OKC after two games in Oklahoma City and the series shifting to Minnesota. So it was an absolute must win for the Timberwolves in order to keep their chances alive. And they did exactly that. So OKC led by four at the very start of the game, 4-0. But from there, the Timberwolves just completely took over and dominated the rest of the way. After the 4-0 start for the Thunder, the Wolves never trailed again. They blew the game open and went up by as much as 45, ultimately winning by 42, 143 to 101. And that was in large part due to some nice balanced scoring. Ant put up 30, 9 and 6, two steals as well. Randall put up 24, 4 and 3. Terrence Shannon Jr. had a nice game. He put up 15 points on 5 of 8 field goals. Nikhil Alexander Walker put up 12 points. Leonard Williams in mostly garbage time put up 11. Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels put up 10 each. And so for the Thunder, not as much good contributions. SGA had 14 points, which is his lowest scoring game since March 24th, 2024 at Milwaukee, where he scored 12 points. AJ Mitchell put up 14, Jada put up 13, Chet put up 10, and Dylan Jones in garbage time put up 10 points as well. So great job by the Wolves getting the much needed win to stay alive in the series. The key question now is how will OKC bounce back? So that was pretty much my main takeaway of game three. Obviously, Timberwolves absolutely needed to win, and they did it commandingly. So I think now I will hand it over to Memo. What were your thoughts on game three between Minnesota and OKC?
Yeah, this was definitely much needed, as he said, and a much needed bounce back from the two stars, especially Julius Randle, who was ass in game two, looking worse than playoff Knicks Randle out there. What did he score? Like 5.6 points in game two. This Yeah, game three was definitely a good game for him. Um, and I can't say the same for OKC. SGA was leading scorer for that team with only 14 points, as you mentioned, 4 of 13 from the field. Yeah, they were just ass. Like a poor shooting night. Um, well, the Wolves were on fire from three. They were 50%. From the field, they were 57.3%. Several role players were chipping in. Huge game from Terrence Shannon Jr., 15 points in 13 minutes. That's pretty impressive. Great defense overall. And yeah, this was definitely a very surprising outcome. You know, the Thunder are so good, such a great team. So seeing them get blown up by 40 points is crazy. Apparently, they are the first team to have a 50-point win and a 40-point loss in the same postseason. The 50-point win being against the Grizzlies, and then the 40-point loss in Game 3 of this series with Minnesota. So crazy that that happened to this team. I guess partially because they're so young that they're still gonna mess up at times. But yeah, this team is still such a such an impressive team, and they really showed what they were truly made out of in Game 4 and Game 5, which we could segue to. Let's talk about Game 4 and how OKC bounced back in that one.
Yeah, so game four, as you mentioned, OKC was able to bounce back nicely after that embarrassing game three blowout. And this was easily the best game of the series because it was finally a close game that was not a blowout. So OKC had the lead for most of the game, but it was never out of striking range for the Wolves. Biggest lead for OKC was 11, and biggest lead for the Wolves was 2, so no team ever blew away. Um, Timberwolves were able to pull to within 2 points after a Aiden McDaniels 3 with 23 seconds left. So then having the foul, SGA goes to the line and makes 2 of 2 free throws. Wolves score a layup to bring it back to within 2 on their following possession. So now fast forward to the Wolves' final possession. OKC is up by 3 after 2 more SGA free throws. So the Thunder decided to intentionally foul Ant to prevent a 3, and he calmly makes the first free throw. Now he has to intentionally miss the second. Off the miss, SGA tries to throw an outlet pass to Hartenstein, but it went out of bounds. A fan caught the ball. But realistically speaking, Hartenstein probably wouldn't have gotten the ball in time, so it was likely going to go out of bounds anyway. But it was definitely like fan making the play dead, a little bit premature. Anyways, Wolves were able to have one more shot with, I don't remember what the time was, like point 0.4, something like that. So they had to inbound the ball. Randall throws it towards the rim, but unfortunately, it just wasn't a very good pass. Thunder broke it up, and they hung on for the 2-point win, 128 to 126. And so OKC took the commanding 3-1 lead. Much better contributions this game. SGA was a great bounce back, 40 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 steal, a near triple double. J-Dub put up 34 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Chet put up 21 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. And Caruso, 10 points, and a lot of great hustle plays that are just not shown in the box score. So shout out to Carugo, to the bald eagle. Um, former Laker, gotta show love. For the Timberwolves, Nikhil Alexander Walker led the way with 23 points. Jaden McDaniels put up 22. Dante DiVincenzo put up 21. Ant had a disappointing game, though, unfortunately. He only put up 16 points, and he was only 1 for 7 from 3, so that wasn't good. Gobert didn't have a good, had a low, lackluster performance also, was only 13 points. Naz Reid put up 11, and Terrence Shannon Jr. this game had 9 points. So yeah, honestly, Timberwolves did not really play bad this game. It's just that the Thunder was so clutch. Like Shai was making so many clutch baskets, every single time it looked like the Timberwolves were gonna either tie it or potentially take the lead, he would respond and increase OKC's lead. So this was just more so bad luck than bad play for the Timberwolves. And so now, unfortunately, they see themselves down 3-1 and on the brink of elimination. So, Memo, what were your thoughts on Game 4?
This was definitely the story of the superstars. One of my biggest concerns going into this series for OKC was whether Chet's partners in crime, J Dub and Chet, more specifically J Dub. I was kind of more targeting my concerns toward J Dub, but I was concerned whether they were gonna step it up when needed to, and they did. They did in this game. The three of them combined scored 95 points. 95 points. Randall and Ant, on the other hand, scored 21 points together. Randall only had 5 points. Ant had 16. That's not going to cut it. The only reason why Minnesota was close to begin with is because every other player basically stepped it up for the Timberwolves. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo. They all had amazing games. I forgot. Did they all have 20 plus points? Like, did DiVincenzo make it? Yeah, DiVincenzo made it with 21, right? So, that is exactly what you would want from Minnesota. For your role players to step it up and score some points, because sometimes that is a struggle for this team. Sometimes it's too much for Ant to handle with the double teams, and he needs to get it out to his teammates and hope that they can score the basket. And they were scoring the basket, but Ant wasn't. That was the issue. Ant was inefficient in this game. Only 16 points. Reminded me of him last year in the Western Conference Finals against Luka and the Mavericks. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Yeah, it might be too early to say, but because he is so young, but they're starting to get a pattern. And if it happens next year as well, is Ant actually a playoff riser? I don't know. I don't know, because he shit the bed in this one, and so did Randall. Like, come on, only 5 points. 5 points. You're supposed to be the second guy. That's not enough. And they, barely lost this game too. They barely lost. What was the final score? Did they lose by 1, 2
They lost
points?
by 2. Yeah. So if they would have just done a little bit more, maybe they win.
Exactly. So, yeah, very disappointing game from the superstars in Minnesota. Um, what were your thoughts on OKC fouling when they were up 3? Like, I know that was pretty controversial. It was the smart thing to do, but like, viewer wise, it's never fun watching uh the game be determined by free throws.
Yeah. I would say it was the right thing to do in the sense that they did not allow the Timberwolves to get off a 3. Um, Now I will say this. Obviously at the end, the Timberwolves. Yeah, I would say like it probably was the right thing to do because if they get off a 3, you just never know if it would like go in or stuff like that. The only thing is obviously you gotta make sure you don't do it while the shot is in motion. And obviously doing so, um, Ant makes the first free throw. He had to purposely miss and try to grab the rebound a second. Earned a lot of time off the clock, but they did have one final chance throwing the lob. At the end, though, I would say OKC's plan worked out in their favor in the sense that not only was the Timberwolves not able to tie it, but it also burned a lot of time off the clock in the process. So ultimately, I would say it wasn't an entertaining move, but it was the right move.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. It was a fun to watch. It's kind of cheese at the end of the day. But it is what it is. Uh, it's just not fun. It's not fun. But yeah, that's basically all my thoughts on this game. Just disappointing game from the Stars in Minnesota, and that one was definitely like a big momentum shift. I feel if they were able to pick up this win, then they probably, well, they obviously would keep playing, and extend the series, right? But this was basically the end of the series to me. Like this game, they had they had the win in their hands basically, but they the Stars let it slip. The Stars let it slip here. So yeah, this one was probably uh the one that they probably regret the most. The one that they regret losing the most, especially since in game five, oh my god, what a snoozer this was. This was belt to ass from beginning to end, basically. Uh,
Yeah.
you want to cover this one?
Yeah, so my take was that game five was pretty much the exact inverse of game three in Minnesota. Um, Wolves led by three at the very start of the game, but then the Thunder just blew them out the rest of the way. And OKC went up by as much as 39 in the fourth and ultimately won by 30 to clinch the series 4-1. And along the way, key contributors for OKC, SGA put up 34, Chet put up 22, Jada put up 19, Udort put up 12, Isaiah Joe put up 11. For the Wolves, Randall put up 24, Ant put up 19, Reed and Terrence Shannon Jr. put up 11 each. And yeah, this was honestly just a very tough way for the Wolves season to end. Um, as you mentioned earlier, reminiscent to last season. Once again, promising season, but in the Western Conference Finals, the Timberwolves just were not able to get over the hump against a team that was superior. And that being said, though, I would say there really is no shame for the Timberwolves. Like, obviously, it hurts the way that they lost, so it's such a big blowout. But it's no shame in the sense that not only did they make it back to the Western Conference Finals for the second year in a row, but they did it as the sixth seed this year. So I would say, like, it was a successful season for the Timberwolves. They just happened to unfortunately fall short. That being said, I am rooting for them to hopefully bounce back and eventually get over the hump. It would be cool to see Ant and the Timberwolves win a chip one day because obviously I know like that city has gone through a lot in terms of like years of losing. Um, I believe they still have the lowest all-time win percentage. I mean, it was the Clippers for a long time, and then they got surpassed by the Timberwolves, unfortunately. Um, but I mean, if the Timberwolves won a ring and the Clippers don't win a ring, then I think that would like outrule everything. So hopefully that happens. But yeah, hopefully the Timberwolves are able to bounce back from this. I feel like they should. Do I think they're gonna make it back to the conference finals next year? I don't know, but we shall see. Anyways, I would say disappointing end to the season for the Timberwolves, but no shame. As for the Thunder, they looked more like the team they were in the regular season this series. Because we mentioned last series that like they just didn't look as dominant as we expected them to against the Nuggets. But this series, they looked very dominant for most of the way, aside from that game three anomaly. So shout out OKC. If they keep playing like this, they are going to be very tough to beat in the finals regardless who wins between the Knicks and the Pacers. But in the meantime, OKC will now await the winner of the Eastern Conference Finals. So I will now hand it over to Memo for any initial thoughts on Game 5 before we move on to the Eastern Conference.
On game five, I really don't have much to say because this was a hard watch, dude. I had the game on, but like I wasn't really paying attention because of how badly the Thunder were destroying the Timberwolves. I guess I'll say that Caruso is just coming through, dude. Like he's so goated. Like I miss him. I miss that bald man so much. I remember during the season, people were saying that Chicago won the trade when they traded Caruso for Giddy, um, which is crazy to say since Caruso helped this team make it to the finals while the Bulls didn't make the playoffs. So like I know Giddy scores more, has more assists, probably more rebounds too. But as you mentioned, like he does the things that does not show in the box score. Every team, I guarantee you, every team, if they were asked to either sign Caruso or sign Giddy, 100%, everybody will rather sign Caruso because he is that valuable to a team. We know this as Lakers fans. He won. He helped win us a chip, and he's most likely gonna help win this team a chip after just being there for a single season. Like the fact that, uh, like I'm gonna glaze a little bit. This OKC team is so damn good. They have so many great defenders. The fact that probably their best defender is one of their bench players is insane. He helps like contribute to these insane runs where uh, they do. I think I forgot who said it, but they call it like a thunder roll. They just keep getting a bunch of steals and then get a lot of easy baskets and just extend leads like crazy. And Caruso, helps initiate that a lot. Of course, Dort does as well. Case and Wallace. I think I said his name wrong, but you guys know who I'm talking about. This team is scary, and spoiler alert, I'm I'm guessing that this team is gonna win the finals. I've been saying this since before the season started. I believe you have as well. But like right now, after how dominant of like how damn I can't talk, seeing how dominant they were in this series, like I can't imagine any team beating them. I really can't. And I guess looking back in the last series, shout out to the Nuggets taking this team to Game 7 with Michael Porter Jr. Having like a shoulder injury. Aaron Gordon was fighting through injury as well. The fact that team was able to take this OKC team that won 80 games before the finals. 80 games before the finals. When you combine the regular season and the playoffs. That's insane. And this is like that the Nuggets had like a weaker Jokic series too. But they were still able to take this game to 7. So shout out to the Nuggets for doing that. But yeah, the shout out to OKC for making the finals. Like, part of me is upset because I preferred Minnesota. I preferred Denver as well. And the fact that SGA might win OKC their first finals and Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook couldn't do it back in the day kind of sucks. Like like the nostalgia part feels weird about all that, but they obviously deserve this, man. Like the fans have been waiting so long for this. It's been a while since this team has made the finals, and seeing that this team with that is so young has a MVP caliber player, not caliber player. He is the MVP. SGA on the team, leading the way to their first NBA Finals. It's really cool. It's really cool to see, and I'm guessing this is gonna be a trend for OKC because I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. Seeing how young they are, I believe they're like the youngest team in years making it to the finals. So Yeah, shout out to OKC. Anything else you want to say? I know I kind of just rambled there. I went full on yap sesh on everybody, but anything you want to say before we talk about the Eastern Conference Finals?
Honestly, not a whole lot, except for the fact that, as you said, OKC practically got their mojo back, and the fact that that Nuggets team took them to the limit last round is all the most more impressive. Anyways, yeah, their future it's definitely very promising and scary for the rest of the league. Not to mention how much draft capital they still have, which they could easily also flip that into a bigger prize. Like for example, and imagine they somehow, some way found a way to get Giannis. That would be like over for the rest of the league. Or what I think would be really cool is if Kate Durant went back to apologize to them. That would be cool. Will it happen? I don't know, but it would be cool if he did go back as an apology.
That'd be like a
But
Golden State Warriors situation again. Him
it
going
would be
to team up
it's
with
like
like the best team in the league, just so he
it's
could
like you
get
want
some
to
easy
come
chips.
it's like you want to come back now, but you didn't want to win with us before when we were still really good, still had a really good chance to win. It's like, come on now. At that point, it's almost like you want us back, but do we want you back? I'm sure they
Exactly.
would. I'm sure they would take Katie, but they would also have to sacrifice pieces. Um, but all in all, though, OKC is definitely going to be like running the league for years to come, regardless if they trade for another big fish or if they stay put, because currently their depth is so good. So, yeah, I feel like it's going to be tough for either of the Eastern teams to take them down, but we shall see. But I think would that now be a good time to segue into the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, yeah, go for it. What happened in Game Three?
Yeah, so game three is Indiana up 2-0, and now the series shifted to Indiana. Knicks started up, so this was practically a must win for the Knicks. Go down 3-0, no team's ever come back. Similar to the situation Timberwolves were in. So Knicks were off to a pretty decent start. They led for most of the first quarter. However, this is where the Pacers went on a huge run. Pacers went up 4 to end the first, and in the second, Pacers continued to fire on all cylinders and went up by as much as 20. Early in the third, Pacers continued to take control. However, towards the second half of the third quarter, the Knicks started to make a nice run, and they took the lead in the fourth and were able to pull out a clutch 106 to 100 win to keep their season alive. And the Knicks had some pretty good balanced scoring from their key core. Cat put up 24 points, Brunson put up 23, OG put up 16 points, and Bridges put up 15. For the Pacers, Tyrese put up 20, Turner put up 19, Siakam put up 17, and McConnell put up 12. So much needed win by the Knicks. They were able to get it, and now they pull closer to now only trailing 2-1. And that set up a very huge stakes, a highly anticipated game four. So, yeah, at this point, the road team had won all three games. So, Memo, what were your thoughts on game three of the Eastern Conference Finals?
For sure, Carl Anthony Towns deserves the game ball here, scoring 20 of his 24 points in the fourth quarter and basically saving their season because if they were down 3-0, that would not be pretty. So, yeah, amazing job by Cat for helping the team stay uh, afloat basically and continuing their season. Um, And yeah, of course, Brunson had a decent game as well with 23, but it was really those 20 points from Cat in the fourth that saved their season, and I guess led to um, game four, where unfortunately for the Knicks didn't go too well. Which we could talk about this one. Game four.
Yeah, so most of the game was pretty close. However, the Pacers seemed to have control for most of the way. The Knicks' biggest lead was only two, and the Pacers' biggest lead, they went up by as much as 15 in the fourth. However, the Knicks did not go down without a fight. They were able to pull it within six with 3:17 remaining, but unfortunately, this is the closest that the Knicks would get, as the Pacers were able to hang on for the 130 to 121 win to take a commanding 3-1 lead, and pretty good key contributions scoring wise. Tyrese put up 32, 12, 15 assists, and 4 steals, a triple double. Siakam put up 30, Mathurin put up 20, Neesmith put up 16, and Turner put up 13. The Knicks were also able to put up some nice scoring as well, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. Brunson put up 31, Cat put up 24, OG put up 22, Bridges put up 17, and Hart put up 12. So, this was a relatively close game going down the stretch, but the Pacers were able to pull it out. And so, we now take the 3-1 lead with a chance to close out game 5 in New York. So, yeah. What did you think about game 4 in Indiana?
Very impressed with that Tyrese Halliburton game. 32 points, 12 rebounds, 15 assists, 4 steals, and 0 turnovers. Very impressive. Benedict Mathurin also impressive as well, getting 20 points in 12 minutes and 29 seconds. He had some help from the free throw line, but still, that was impressive. That is the fastest anybody has scored 20 points in the postseason. So shout out to Mathurin for getting it done. And yeah, unfortunately for the Knicks, they did lose this one. Now they are down 3-1. Season on the line. Will they be able to save their season at home? Spoiler alert. Yes, yes, they do. They were able to get the win in Game 5. What were your thoughts in that game?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, game 5 was a must-win scenario because the Knicks were literally going to be eliminated if they did not, and they fully lived up. So the Knicks never trailed this game, and they went up by as much as 22 at one point. Um, Now, obviously, knowing the Pacers all playoffs run, known for their scrappiness and crazy comebacks, this time they were not able to pull off the impossible. Um, Knicks, as mentioned, were in full control the entire game, start to finish, took the lead, and never sacrificed. And that was very important because they needed to do that in order to extend the series. So nice balance from the key contributors this game. Brunson put up 32, Cat put up 24, Bridges and Hart put up 12 each, and OG put up 11. For the Pacers, Mathurin put up 23, Siakam put up 15, Toppin put up 11. Disappointing performance by Tyrese this game. He only had 8 points on 2 of 7 field goals, which is 28.6% shooting. So that was not pretty. Anyways, the Knicks were able to get a huge win at home to extend the series, and so that now sets up a crucial Game 6 in Indy. Pacers will try to end the series at home, while the Knicks will try to steal Game 6 on the road to then set up a potential Game 7 back at MSG. So, safe to say, Game 6 literally is going to be a major, crucial turning point. If the Pacers win that game, they end it, they go to the finals and play the Thunder. And if the Knicks win it, then don't look now. They will be the favorites in the driver's seat once Game 7 is back in Madison Square Garden. So this will definitely be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Game 5, I found very interesting seeing how the differences between the 2 point guards, Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton. They played very differently, and in this game, uh, the play style definitely benefited Jalen Brunson. He's a machine. He is a scoring machine. That's all he knows how to do. He can't defend. He's an okay passer, but when you need a bucket, he'll get you a bucket. And I'm sure a lot of Pacers fans are wishing that Tyrese could be a little more like Brunson in that way because, he did not have a good shooting night. It didn't shoot a lot because of the inefficiency. I guess he was, focusing more on getting the ball to others. But with the series on the line, you would want to finish the series as soon as possible. They had that opportunity today, but Tyrese unfortunately couldn't show up. Brunson did. He was killing it in the first quarter, killing it in the third quarter as well. In basically every quarter except for the second quarter. I think he didn't score a bucket in the second. But yeah, he was killing it. Cat was amazing in the first half. He had 17 points and 10 rebounds in the first half, a double double before halftime. This is the fourth time he was able to do that in the postseason. So shout out to him for that. And yeah, I believe the biggest reason why the Knicks ended up winning is because of their defense. Their defense really came through. Mikal Bridges did a pretty good job at Tyrese. Big reason why Tyrese did so poor is because of Bridges trying his hardest to slow him down. So yeah, that was impressive. And there would be times where Pacers would go on a run, cut the lead to 10, but this time the Knicks didn't choke. The Knicks actually made their own little runs to extend the lead and making sure that they actually won the game, which is the issue. The Knicks have been able to get leads in the series. They've been able to get 20-point leads a few times this series, but it's actually keeping those leads that is the big issue for the Knicks, and they were able to do that in this one. They were able to get the win here. So yeah, shout out to Brunson for just being a lot more hungry out there. He knew what was on the line, and he really came through for the Knicks. And hopefully Tyrese bounces back in the next game because this was not a pretty showing. But if he really wants to make it to the finals, he's got to step it up. And he's done it before. So let's just hope that he actually does it this time. I do have a random note here. I thought this was funny while I was watching the game. I believe it was halftime. I think, or I don't know, but the TNT crew were talking, and they had a post from Twitter, kind of making fun of how high up the TNT crew were in Madison Square Garden. And Chuck made a joke that he was so high up, he was able to touch God up there, and he said that this was the only time he'll be able to touch God because he's going to hell. And I just started laughing so much. I know he's a Lakers hater and all that, but Chuck is so funny. He's a funny dude. And when I was laughing, he immediately said that whoever's laughing at home is gonna join him. And I was like, God damn it! He got me good there. So shout out to Chuck. He's so funny.
Yeah. Charles Barkley. I'm not the biggest fan of him as an analyst, but he is a funny guy though, so I will give him that. And yeah, that was a pretty good joke he made there. And yeah, this game was obviously it was not like the closest game of what could have been, but it was a much needed performance by the Knicks to extend the series. And so the Knicks live to see another day, and game 6 is tomorrow, Saturday.
Yeah,
So
that
crucial game 6 in Indiana.
very crucial. Very excited for that. But I think that's it for our rundown on what happened so far in the conference finals. And right now, we're going to try our best to predict both OKC versus Pacers. We can start with the Pacers first since they're winning the series at this point. And then we'll talk about OKC versus Knicks. And basically, you know, I'm sure you have thoughts in your head right now, but maybe not full fledged thoughts. I don't really have full fledged thoughts right now, but we're gonna try our best to predict what might happen. So let's start with OKC versus Knicks. Um, what do you believe will happen if they face off against each other?
Yeah, so if the Thunder played up against the Knicks in the finals, I think that'd be pretty interesting. How many games do I think it would go to? Kind of hard to say at the moment. I mean, if OKC plays like they are right now, it's possible maybe another 5 game series. I want to say 6, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was 5. I'm gonna go ahead and say OKC wins in 6, though, honestly. I would say Knicks find a way to steal one on the road, win one at home, but then OKC is gonna do the same thing. They're gonna win most of the home games aside from one of game 1, game 2, and then they're going to drop one road game, win one road game, and then they're gonna finish game 6 on the road. I will go ahead and say Thunder in 6 if they played the Knicks.
Yes, that's tough to say. I'm still thinking about it. For sure, Brunson's gonna have a difficult time with all of those defenders uh, in OKC, with Wallace, with Caruso, Dort. The Brunson in the torture chamber. That's gonna be a very interesting matchup. Just in general, SGA versus Brunson, the two free throw merchants going at it. I'm sure a lot of people are not gonna be happy watching them flopping all the time. Which,
Oh,
like,
God.
I'm not a hater like that, but I do enjoy watching them play, especially Brunson. I do prefer Brunson over SGA, even though SGA is the better player. With that said, though, yeah, I do think he's gonna have a hard time. Cat, what? How well do you think Cat will be able to handle the OKC defense? With Hartenstein there, with Chet. Cat is for sure bigger, um, but you know they got two bigs that are pretty good defenders in Hartenstein and Chet. You think they'll be able to slow him down?
I feel like it's probably going to be in the sense where they'll slow him down a little bit, but they're not going to completely slow him down. And so in that case, what I believe is he's going to have some really great, good games, and then he'll have some not as good games. So I would say like they'll be able to contain him, but I don't know if they'll be able to fully stop him. So yeah, I would say that Cat will hold his ground, and then OKC will also hold some ground as well,
Okay.
and it will be like back and forth.
Okay. I will say this. I think Cat will have a better or easier time defensively because, in this series against the Pacers, a lot of the times since he's been playing power forward since Mitchell Robinson is back in the starting lineup, uh, or not back, but he's in the starting lineup now. If they continue that lineup where Josh Hart has to be on the bench, I think Cat will do fine defensively. He doesn't really need to worry too much about uh Chet. Definitely not Hartenstein. He doesn't score like that. But I think he'll have a better or easier time guarding Chet than he does with Siakam at the moment. But if he's able to remember that he is the biggest man on the court, uh, I was gonna say you'd have a good time, but at easy time, but at the same time, Caruso was able to slow down Jokic quite a bit, and that's Jokic. So now thinking about it, Cat might have some issues because there's gonna be a lot of hands down low looking for steals, and he's not gonna be paying attention. You know, it's Cat. He turns the ball over easily. Um, he forgets he's so big at times that he charges over smaller guys as well. I saw that happen in the last game versus Indiana. Um, he might have issues now thinking about it because uh, OKC might go small and yeah, use Caruso to guard Cat to slow him down. Um, what I'm ultimately getting at is that the Knicks are gonna have a hard time with this OKC defense. That OKC defense is gonna swallow them up, from top to bottom, basically. And there's no way they can stop Shea. Like Mikal Bridges is gonna try his best, or OG, uh, might try his best, but you know, Shea is gonna get his 30. He will, and especially if they like target Cat, target Brunson, because right now the biggest reason why they're losing against the Pacers is because the Pacers are targeting those two players, the superstars. They can't be on the court at the same time together because they're both so bad at defense. So yeah, I don't really see any way the Knicks can beat OKC. Like Tibbs, although as of late he's been using the bench, but still, the Knicks are so much more shallow than OKC as well. They're not gonna have that much bench contribution. I'm talking myself into a 5 game series. Honestly, I think OKC is gonna win this in 5. The more that I'm talking about it, like there's no bench, and you're facing the deepest team in the league with OKC. Uh, the Knicks can't play defense, or at least their two superstars can't play defense. You can't play them for a long time together because they get targeted so much. But if you bench one of them, then there's gonna be a lack of scoring. Dude, I don't really see any way the Knicks can win this. The more I talk about it, the more I think it's OKC in 5. So I think that will be my final prediction. OKC in 5.
Yeah, I was really struggling picking between 5 or 6, and like low-key you're kind of convincing me in the sense like I just don't know how much of like their own ground that the Knicks would be able to hold. I mean, the fact that they almost could have lost in 5 to the Pacers in itself was, if anything, be a concern, knowing that OKC is a better team, at least supposedly. But yeah, I'm just gonna say like either 5 or 6. I don't think they're gonna get swept. I feel like they should win one game, but it's either they're gonna only win one, maybe two max. I think that's about it. Um, it might be one though, honestly.
So what's your official prediction? Is it in 5 or in 6?
Um, I guess I'll say 5, honestly.
Okay.
I thought I thought the Timberwolves were gonna win too. Do I think that the Knicks are better than the Timberwolves? Honestly, maybe. But they're both, I mean, they're both good teams. I think that the problem is disappointing in situations that they should have won, letting go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is, the Timberwolves just flat out got destroyed in majority of the games, and then the Knicks like obviously lost a lead in game one and stuff like that. So the way they lost wasn't necessarily the same. One of them lost to a powerhouse handily, and the other one is technically the favored while losing. So It's hard for me to say, but I guess I'll just go with Thunder in five though.
We also gotta think about this: the were a better defensive team too. Like they have a
True.
not MVP, DPOY, uh, as their center. He was in the second all defensive team, Rudy Gobert, and he couldn't do much in that series. So imagine Cat. Like I'm sure Mitchell Robinson. This is assuming Mitchell Robinson is their center. Uh, he'll do fine, I think. Like he's been pretty good, but you can't play him too long either. So if he's on the bench, then the defense is screwed in the paint. Like Cat can't do anything. So yeah, OKC in five. Uh, like I want a long series. That's the issue. I want to see a long series. I want to see a fun series. I don't want to see another like OKC Minnesota series where every game basically is a blowout except for one. I don't want to see that happen, but I could definitely see that happening against the Knicks. But let's move on to Pacers. But sorry, let's move on with OKC versus Pacers. If they face each other, what do you think will happen? What is your prediction for this series?
So, kind of tricky here. Knowing the fact that like I feel like the Knicks they should be the better team than the Pacers if we're talking on paper. The Pacers are just so scrappy, no quit team. I feel like they find a way to win too against OKC, honestly. Like they shouldn't, but I think they would find a way to. Just because of how scrappy they are. That being said, I think that would be my prediction, honestly. The Thunder in six over Indiana.
Okay. Again, not a lot of thoughts right now. I'm gonna think about it a little bit, but for sure, the matchups are interesting because we have most likely Lou Dort, all defensive guard, guarding Halliburton. That's gonna be key for OKC. Halliburton is the nucleus. He's the brain of the team. He even if he has a bad shooting night, the Pacers can still win if he's playmaking and making the right decisions and they play their style of basketball, which is like running 100,000 miles per hour down the court. Um, will the defenders on OKC be able to slow them down? I could see that happening, to be honest. Um, I could also see them playing in a fast paced motion as well. Like, obviously, OKC thrives when Shai is in the half court, doing his thing. But they could get in a quick flurry, as we've talked about as well, how, they'll get Caruso or Dort getting a bunch of steals and inflating leads super fast. That is similar to how the Pacers play. But yeah, with that said, SGA might have some trouble with Nemhard guarding him. I don't know how much trouble he will have since he is the MVP. He is an incredible scorer, one of the best, if not the best, right now uh, in the season. Will Nemhard be able to slow him down? I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, if the Thunder can slow down the Pacers and basically get the ball out of Tyrese's hands, then I think they'll easily win this series. I thought the Knicks would be able to do that since they have Mikal Bridges, they have OG that could possibly slow down Halliburton, but that doesn't seem to be able. It seems like that's not going to happen. I don't know. Maybe it's too early to say. Maybe this ages poorly, but for sure, OKC is a better defense. Like The Knicks right now is the best defense the Pacers have faced throughout the playoffs, but it's at a different level with OKC. Like the Knicks, as good as they are, they're not really a great defensive team. I just think they're better than the Bucks and the Cavs. The Cavs are good, obviously, but their guards aren't great defenders. They weren't going to slow down Halliburton, and they didn't. So, uh, although the Knicks are decent, OKC is at a different level, and I don't think the Pacers are going to be able to handle that very well. So, I'm gonna put some respect on the Pacers' name, and I'm gonna say OKC in six. I still think they're gonna lose, but uh, they are a surprising team. They find ways to win games. They intensify their defense at times, go on crazy runs, and they're so good at cutting 20-point leads and coming in clutch. The Halliburton has been the clutchest player in the playoffs, and the clutch player of the year is still playing in the playoffs. Halliburton is just that good, but I don't think he's good enough to be able to take down the MVP and take down this 80K winning team. So, Pacers in six. That's my final prediction.
Pacers in six or Thunder in six?
Thunder in six. My bad.
I just had to make sure. I figured you knew. Oh, I will say this. It would be pretty funny. I think. Oh yeah, if it's Thunder and Pacers, it's practically the Paul George finals in terms of the two teams that ended up having to move on from Paul George. So that would be pretty funny, not gonna lie. The two teams that had to move on from Paul George meeting in the finals. I feel like at that point, Paul George would be the loser. Like if we were to make a W and L list, Paul George. His two former teams meet in the finals. Man, that would be funny. Um, that being said, which matchup would I rather see happen? I think I still would rather see the Knicks, honestly. I like the Knicks better, so I would love to see the Knicks make the finals. But as we both predicted, we just seem to have more confidence in the Pacers taking an extra game due to their scrappiness. So like it's definitely a little bit of the pick your poison type here. But yeah, if I were to pick, I think I would say I would want to see the Thunder and the Knicks play. But I feel like either one, it's probably not going to be too big of a difference in terms of OKC is more than likely the inevitable NBA champion of 2024 2025.
I think I'd prefer Pacers to win now. Like, obviously,
Ooh, okay.
I want the Knicks to win, but I think the Pacers are more entertaining to watch. Um, and just the thought of the flop off versus SGA versus Brunson,
Yeah.
I'm sure that could be a hard watch at times. Uh, but yeah, just seeing how fast the Pacers play, I think they're gonna be a more fun team to watch, especially since they often get themselves into these close game scenarios since they cut down leads all the time, and Halliburton is in these clutch scenarios as well. So I think yeah, uh, I prefer to watch OKC versus Pacers, but I did want the Knicks to win the series. I predicted the Knicks would win the series. I would rather have them win the series so I don't look entirely stupid predicting the Knicks would win. But yeah, I prefer to watch the Pacers versus OKC. Is that a fair take?
Yeah, I would say that's a fair take, honestly. Now that you mentioned the foul baiting, I feel like that's like a very fair point. Because like if we're talking about like the overall players, then it's like I prefer the Knicks over the Pacers. But then you mentioned the foul baiting. I kind of agree with you, honestly, because like me personally, as you mentioned, you're not a hater of those two players. I'm not a hater of those two players either. But I can just imagine like how mad other fans will be seeing like the back and forth foul baiting by the two superstars. It's definitely gonna be uh funny. Probably not the most entertaining, but it's gonna be funny like comedy, honestly. And at the end of the day, though, I'm just glad that we're gonna have a neutral matchup regardless. Like a team that we don't despise being in the finals.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
actually kind of surprised. Like, you do like SGA and Brunson, knowing that you hate Harden. I know Harden was a lot worse at foul baiting when he was in
yeah,
his prime. But, like,
uh-huh.
I've never heard you say any bad things about SGA and Brunson. And I do think that
Okay.
hate is overboard online. Like, they're not nearly as
Yeah.
bad as Prime Harden. But still, I'm honestly a little surprised that you don't really
Yeah.
criticize them at all for
And
that.
I think part of the fact that they play for teams that I actually like may play factor. Because like granted, like Harden played for the Rockets. I did not like the Rockets. And then he played for the Clippers and so forth. Um yeah. And I feel like the thing about SGA is I mean maybe if he won like 2, 3 championships, then I'll get tired of the dude. Then I'll start hating him. And then I'll be like talking a lot on him then. But I feel like in the meantime, he hasn't really done much. He hasn't won a championship yet, though he very well may win one this year. Um, I do not mind him. And I will admit, like, definitely the foul baiting is a little bit annoying. And, like, obviously, all those memes, it's like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander highlights compilation, and it's just him at the free throw line or everything. I will admit, like, it gets old, but it's still funny. So like, yeah, at the moment, no hate for him and no hate for Brunson. I actually really like. I agree with you. I do like Brunson
Okay,
more.
cool.
I feel like I feel like the thing about Brunson, even though he is also a foul baiter, I feel like his shot creation is just like so much more fun to watch. And like not to mention like he's like one of the clutchest players in the league. That's also makes him really fun also. So yeah, I feel like SGA in the meantime, no problems. Maybe he wins 2 or 3 championships, I change my mind. But yeah, at the moment I am cool with these two guys.
You saying that you might change my mind if he won 3 championships reminds me of this tweet I saw earlier this week. I forgot who, but like it's someone commenting on basically why, or not understanding why OKC gets so much hate because like they're a small market team that's going to win their first championship. They don't shoot a lot of threes. They have entertaining, for the most part, MVP on their team. They're young, they're fresh, and like why is everybody hating on OKC? Like it's kind of weird when you put it in that perspective because for so long people were mad about the league shooting too much threes or like I definitely was part of this. I was tired of seeing the Warriors and the Cavs facing each other over and over and over again in the 2010s. Like I got tired of those like dynasty days. So, and I know a lot of people were as well. A lot of people were tired of seeing Warriors and Cavs in the playoffs again, or in the finals again. But things have changed, and it seems like we're finally getting what we kind of asked for. I'm generalizing, of course, talking about NBA fans in general. We're finally getting a team that's never won a championship in the finals. We're finally getting a team that's not shooting or chucking threes all the time. We're finally getting a team that is a hard nosed defensive team that, is basically defense first, and people are still hating because like it's crazy. Isn't this what we all wanted at the end of the day?
Yeah. I feel like I feel like it's just probably mostly because of like the SGA foul baiting that people hate on OKC. I think that's the main reason because aside from that, when I see people like say they hate OKC, I don't really remember what are the other reasons. Maybe like they think that they I don't even remember what were the other reasons people said.
I think people don't like how they have fun. Basically, like they're a young
Oh
team. They mess around sometimes. They're like putting towels on reporters and stuff, just goofing off. And
yeah.
people don't like that. People don't like seeing fun.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like there's something from this team that they probably wish that their own team did in that case.
That might be it. Just
So,
jealousy in general.
jealousy, I think so, honestly. But yeah, honestly, I mean, you know it also. I've always been a fan of OKC as a franchise throughout their existence, obviously dating back to KD and Russ, now with Shea, Chet, and all these guys. And like OKC, obviously we all know like they have like some of the best fans in the league. Their playoff home court advantage is like probably easily the best the best home court advantage in the league. Easily. Like they get loud, they wear the t-shirts in uniform, and they just are very much Thunder pride. And knowing that OKC is technically a small market makes it even more impressive. So yeah, shout out to them. So yeah, in the meantime, a team that hasn't even won a championship yet, I root for nothing but the best for them. Now maybe like as mentioned earlier, they 2 3 years down the line, if they won like 2 or 3 championships by then, maybe I'll grow tired of them. I'll be like, yeah, I don't want this team to win anymore. But for now, I think they deserve to win a championship for their city.
And I could definitely see that happening. Like this is a young team. This is the youngest and finals bound team in a long time. So this and like the contracts are good since a lot of them are like this is only Chet's real second season. I know, like this is kind of
Yeah.
like his third year in the league, but still like the contracts are good at the moment. Um, they have draft picks like crazy. They have crazy depth. This could go on for a few more years. And we'll probably definitely be sick of them in 3 years from now after they three-peat, I guess. But yeah, at the moment, it's fun. This is a fun team. And if they win, they win. I'd rather have it be my Lakers, but obviously that's not going to happen. So, uh, yeah, shout out to them. Oh, and actually, before we end things off, let me show this. I showed you last week, but for the viewers, this is definitely something that you should go on the YouTube to see. But I bought this like cork board, and basically, from here on out, I thought it'd be a cool idea that every season, once there's a champion, we add a little pin to the cork board. I have a Celtics pin here, unfortunately, since they won last year, and last year was our first season doing the podcast. So this year, good thing Celtics are out, so I'm not buying another Celtics pin. So it
Thank
will,
God.
thank God. So it will likely be OKC here. Maybe it'll be a Nick. Maybe it'll be a Pacer pin. But yeah, essentially I'll be buying a pin right after the finals end and add it to the corkboard. And hopefully this podcast lasts a long time so we could see this corkboard be filled with a bunch of NBA championships, which will take forever to fill up. This was too big. I should have bought a smaller one because it's gonna look so lame for so many years. Like just getting five will not be even close to filling this up. But yeah, eventually it will look cool. Eventually it will look cool, and we'll look back on
Yes,
this
sir.
and uh, it'll be a fun thing to just have in my room or wherever this podcast leads us. So it'll be in the background somewhere eventually. But yeah,
Definitely.
anything you want to say before we end things off?
Honestly, not a whole lot, but just per usual, thank you guys for the constant love and support to our channel. We greatly appreciate it. We would not be where we are today without you guys' support. If you guys like our content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, follow us on all platforms, and make sure to stay tuned on our content because obviously we are winding down the season. The conference finals is about to end. Soon it'll be the NBA finals. And then off season, we will come up with some good bangers for you guys. And you guys do not want to miss it. So please make sure to stay tuned and look forward to what is to come.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun off season, and of course, it'll be fun covering the NBA Finals when that happens next week. Next week might be a weaker episode now thinking about it, since there's gonna be one game on
Yeah.
Thursday. I guess we'll talk about the end of the Eastern Conference Finals and talk about that one finals game, but we might be doing TikTok games at the end of the next episode. So, okay,
Probably.
maybe next episode will be weaker, but the rest will be fire. That's for sure. Uh, but
Yes, sir.
yeah, make sure you guys, if you're on YouTube, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe even if you really enjoyed. If you're on audio platform, make sure you follow and give us a 5-star rating and review. That'd be great. Follow the socials, especially TikTok. I've been making more TikToks as the playoffs progress. And yeah, I guess we could end things here. We'll see you all next week. Goodbye.